Hi, everybody. Welcome to The Right Side with Doug Billings. Today, I'm very happy to introduce Darren Aquino, who is a U.S. Congressional candidate from Florida's 19th District. Mr. Aquino, thank you very much for your time and joining us today on The Right Side.
I'm just so happy to be here. Thanks for having me to help me get out the message to keep America great and strong. It's really a privilege to be here with you.
Thank you, Mr. Aquino. I appreciate it. So, first of all, as I look at the race down there in your 19th district, there are, at my count, 8 candidates, Republican candidates in the field. And I'm curious to know, and I have my own reasons for finding you and for seeing your candidacy online, because I have a son who has Down syndrome, and I know that you have been wildly involved and passionately involved in disability rights for all of Americans throughout the country. But of the 8, and I don't mean to lead you in that direction, but what distinguishes you from those other Republican candidates?
Well, as some of the folks have been telling me, and I've heard for the past couple of years since I ran for mayor of New York City, corruption pushed me out because they have this illusion that you can buy the seat. That was set in place by Democrats like Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton. Pay for the seat and you can have it, taking away all integrity. That's one of the things I have. They call me the authentic, original candidate. That's very flattering to me. And when they say that, I'm humbled at that trust that the American people see in me that I've earned over 35 years. I didn't just get it from Johnny come lately. The candidates that are running are wishy-washy. They plagiarized my platform, like Dane Eagle. They excluded me from Lee County and said they couldn't reach me. You found me. All of America finds me, but Lee County, where it's very corrupt, I got some people coming onto the team because my numbers, I'm at 22%. The other folks, Kosi Asgard, dropped to 16, and the others are single digits. That just fills my heart. As you know, the Americans are speaking up. Veterans are speaking up.
I think you're right, and I just found out today that Nashville has heard about you. You've earned the attention of some famous Nashville musicians, and they, because they have ties to Florida, have found your candidacy.
Oh God, yes! I want to give them a shout out there. Trey Taylor, Debbie Campbell, the daughter of Glenn Campbell, and of course Dolly Parton. And they saw my grassroots advocacy and my campaign, and that in itself is a picture of authenticity, because I'm not buying a seat. And for all the viewers to know, my family has got a lot of money. My family could buy and sell those other candidates that came out with money, Fig and Asghar, who they're questioning that $3 million that it may have radical ties to Islamic terrorists, and he's Iraqi. But my cousin, Arizona Iced Tea, who sold the company, and Rayo's restaurant, that's not what I wanted. I didn't want that. I earned my character, my title, my record from 35 years, and now it's speaking back to me. And I'm just so proud of Americans stepping up for me. Yes, I need that support. It's vital to keep winning. I'm leading, and we stay in the lead by the support of the American people, so we can bring back America and stop this anarchy, tearing down historic, intrinsic, valued statue. Christopher Columbus, George Washington. Right. What is that?
It's crazy, and I agree with you. And part of me wonders what's next. Are we going to go after the Statue of Liberty? Are we going to come after the lyrics to our national anthem? What actions could you take if you're elected? Could you take to stop the madness, the anarchy?
Well, first of all, Nancy Pelosi had no authority under the laws, treaties, and agreements of the United States to act in the House of our own accord to say, take those pictures down. Those belong to the people. I didn't give her permission. Did you? I didn't. And I don't know anybody that did. That's a high crime. That's an assault on property. Okay? That's destruction of property. That's a misdemeanor. I want to impeach her. You have no right. You've taken them down and you're inciting riots. You're committing crimes, high crimes and misdemeanors. First, you attack children, the president's son. You demean and undermine veterans in the streets during COVID. You delay the payments and hold it up 3 weeks so people die. And America doesn't see that. I got news for you. America does see it. They buy up the tickets from President Trump's rally so that nobody can go. They don't care. They will spend to buy America to take the House and then take your rights. They want the Second Amendment abolished. So you know why? So that in these days, we can't defend ourselves. They got ahead of themselves. America can see that. America can see that. We saw this little loophole, and that's why I did the song, The Snake. The snake is at the house. He's in the garden. His name is Joe Biden. He's got Crooked Joe Jr. He's a crack addict. I mean, this is the kind of people that take leadership. Ilhan Omar said 100 million to illegals, while 70,000. Not only Vietnam, but mainly now are the veterans that fought the war on terror since 9/11. Mm-hmm. But remember, 9/11 was the second successful attack. The first one happened under Clinton when he allowed 6 million illegals from Middle Eastern countries that are our enemies. There were bombs on the bridge that they didn't broadcast because they didn't want you to panic. Okay, on the George Washington Bridge, historic landmarks. What are you seeing now? These are the same group that came and attacked me when I was going to the president's inauguration, because I had 20 first responders because of Senator Blunt and President Trump. We had the tickets, front row, because the president takes care of the vulnerable and the disabled. And this is what he's fighting now. Yeah. So we're going to make laws that prevent that. We're going to make a law that we're going to modify it or amend it, that no congressional candidate that's not naturally born, like the president, should be in Congress. Why? Ilhan Omar said, and 29 others that are illegal said, give the money to illegals. Why? To bring terrorists here? Why? Casey Asgar, we can't figure out who he is. People have joined our military to pretend. How long have we've had sleeper cells? We've had deep state, right? We've had Russian that joined up in our military. He didn't fight war. He got a uniform. That doesn't make you a patriot.
Right. And I hear what you're saying. Let me bite off a little bit of what you just said there. So with regards, let me start with, again, the let's look to what the Supreme Court did last week to piggyback off of what you just said with regards to DACA. It was my interpretation that the Supreme Court, Chief Justice Roberts in particular, said, look, we're not denying you the ability, Mr. President, to do away with DACA. We're just asking that you follow the legislative process in order to get rid of it. There were a lot of conservatives out there that jumped on the ledge of panic and said, oh my gosh, here we go again. He's not supported. I was one that said, hang on, we have a pathway to get rid of it. But from your perspective with regards to DACA in particular, what's your stance on that, and what's your evaluation of what the Supreme Court did last week?
The Supreme Court took the authority of Congress. It had no right to act as Congress. It has no right, not now, not ever. And when judges stand behind it and make an opinion, when Congress did not legislate what was before the court, they had no stand. And Justice Roberts said that. We can't do that. Right, but you don't undermine it. They undermined it. You undermine the integrity of the country. And this is not about not having illegals here. This is about doing it lawfully. And in this time of terror, corona, the Chinese killer virus, how many more are going to die from irresponsible elected officials on the Democratic side? They showed you who they were. I'm not bashing Democrats. My father was, but he wasn't with that. I don't recognize that Democrat.
Right.
That's Democrat.
Yeah, Democrat, and I've used that term myself, and I've just said lately on this program and others that we've got to begin calling what the Democrat Party is now really become, and that is they are now the new Democratic Socialist Party, and they are beginning to see, I think at least, we're beginning to see who their electoral base is. We see their electoral base on the news every night, burning cities in America, why they want mail-in voting and so forth. So let me tackle the Chinese virus with you now next. Okay. So it's been my opinion, and let me know if you agree with this, that in the beginning, perhaps we all thought, okay, let's shut everything down. We applauded President Trump for taking early and decisive action, eliminating travel to and from China and so forth. But I began in late January, early February saying, wait a minute, we're going to shut down the entire economy to fight a virus that hasn't even touched 0.5% of 1% of our entire population. What are your thoughts about the economic shutdown? Was it necessary, and would it be a template again in the future if something else happens similarly?
Well, that's a good question, because here's the thing. Being that the president doesn't have 100% loyal patriots working with him where he needs them most, Congress, because of stimulus, it has to be authorized. It has to be built. Like this, that the Supreme Court ruled without Congress. Okay? If the president took decisive action based on the intel, the data. Now, you got to remember, and this is very important for every American to know, you still got leftovers, Democrats within his administration in the communications area. So if they delay stuff, or the CDC, and they delay stuff, that's willful. That's a willful crime against the American people to put them in threat. So now, knowing all that, the president takes action. He shuts it down to clear it up, because we got to get a grip. He's realizing there's no loyalty here. They don't care about him. Look what de Blasio and Clinton and Cuomo did. They put sick with the sicker. How do you do that? In good conscience. I gave him a letter and a direction as the national chief advocate for disabled. I wasn't asking him. It was a direction. And because always people must know, we the people are the paramount law of the Constitution. It is the law of the land. What's going on in the streets, and this is why covert attacks. So should we have taken, at that point, it was necessary. But now cleanup. And then when you use data, because the vulnerable and the homeless population made it spread faster. Whose fault is that? Nancy Pelosi, Chicago. Go ahead, let's go to the states where the populations are great. Who did they put at risk? Who did this attack? The vulnerable. Who are they? I told them, contain those folks first in New York, 66,000. Contain them, have the garment district, the biggest in the country, in the world. Make up some suits, put them in, put the caps, gowns, test them. Put them in the armories that we have around the city. Good idea, right? You think he listened? No. He threw them in nursing homes, killing people. Nursing homes have their own issues that are part of the problems here in the district, that these folks, you got make-believe politicians that go there for the check, that just show up to get elected and do nothing. They throw something out, like Chucky Schumer, right? He comes out once every 5 years and says, I'm going to do this. What did he do the rest of the 5 years? And if these things continue, if you're a Republican in New York and you send to a Democratic leader, they don't answer you because they check your status first. A lot of Americans don't know that. I do. They don't know that. So what he did was take the action because he was alone, closing it down and then reopening it, but nobody abided. You see, recklessness was being focused. They were throwing two things, and they were throwing wood into the fire at the president trying to settle and solve the problem. And then it spun out. They let too many people came in groups. The Antifa came out. They came out. Look at them now. Protesting is not a problem, right? They're not worried about the virus. They're not worried, but they're coming from everywhere. So let's look at the lying Democrats who are putting America in jeopardy. Let's look at what they're destroying, all of your rights. Who's leading the pack? Chuck and Nancy Pelosi, Nadler, Shifty. Okay, that's just some. And then you got 28 unnatural born congressmen and women that want to give our stuff away, and that's what they're doing. So we have to flip the House, so that way the orderly actions that the president is trying to do would be understood, but they're convoluting his good direction.
One of the most interesting lines that President Trump said the other day in Tulsa, and at the same time, in my opinion, one of the most frightening lines that he said was that, quote, Joe Biden is a Trojan horse for socialism. What's your take on that? And do you really, to what degree are you afraid that socialism will take root in America?
To what degree? I'm fearful. Why do you think I'm running for this? So I'm fearful because he's misleading. Look what Joe said. Okay, let's just look at his record. His record. The president's not wrong, but I hope America's listening to me. Joe Biden did nothing for our organization. Neither did Obama. He changed all the phone numbers. I have on my wall 4 presidents supported me. Obama changed all the phone numbers so that the citizens who couldn't connect. I had the fax numbers to the secretary, okay, to the chief of staff, because I deal with millions of Americans around the country. 4 honorable presidents versus Obama and his sidecar hold there, his sidekick, Crooked Joe. You know what I mean? I was like Hopalong Cassidy. But geez, I don't even want to disgrace his name because Crooked Joe is just Crooked Joe. And he told you, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. I'm a minority myself. I took offense to that statement because some people say I'm Puerto Rican and Italian. Don't tell me that. What kind of leadership can that present? Now, the socialism, he's pushing all this. I got candidates on my side, on the Democratic side. They don't have a shot. We're 83% Republican here. They don't have a shot. But they're making bashing. They're promoting to take down the statutes. That's the beginning of violent socialism. And then they're going to calm it down with free this, free that. But they'll decide on what category of level of citizen you are. Then they'll look to put a chip in you to keep monitoring you. You understand? Well, because they can't have that. They're taking your freedom, and they'll take away your gun. They'll try to abolish the Second Amendment. America, wake up. This is that phone call that you must take. I'm telling you, for the good of this country, as a person who loves everybody, these are not the people that are loyal and loving of this country. Just look at the veterans and vulnerable women and 14 million hungry children and Omar and Pelosi and the shifty mob, okay, that hates our president and all American values. Let's legislate 100 million to illegals. Let's give another 25 million to the arts in the time of deadly crisis. To just offend the presidency so later they can do what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
They set you up, America. You're smarter than that. Even Democrats are smarter than this, but they're not catching it, and they need to.
I think you're right. And I think that most of Americans have common sense, thankfully. And I think that if we look between the coasts, I think that even in places like California, that, you know, with Newsom out there, with every decision that he makes with the lockdown and everything else, it's my opinion, though, outside of Los Angeles and Hollywood, there's quite a few Republican districts in California that may go red this November. But let me ask you, you know, you're a minority, you know, Puerto Rican and Italian. Yes. What's your take on the status of the police and law enforcement across the country? Do you think that America has a police brutality issue?
It doesn't have as wide as they're trying to make it big. Yeah. It's not as big as they're saying. It has it because it comes down to individuals that you listen in groups and walks and such. Listen, you got black people that are racist. You got Puerto Ricans that are racist because it just is. It's the good and evil that we talk about. That's biblical. It's there. But in a police department in different states, yeah, you probably got a handful of bad apples. What we need to do is get rid of them. You don't defund them. First of all, you use them as an example, like we're doing. Mm-hmm. We use them as an example. Now it's back to training. I tried to help de Blasio with the Eric Gardner. So they put in police advocates, citizen advocates. Listen to me, Bill. At the funeral of Ramos, 6 police officers were killed because of that. Walked up to their car and shot them. Mia Sotis Familia, who's coming out for me in the family. Okay, I was there. You saw that picture of the female cop. They're a friend of mine. That family. I'll be there in New York to attend the services and the memorial on July 5th. I got to go to New York because I keep my word. I don't go because I stop everything because I must be me. And a lot of good Americans do that. That's what we have to do now to hold this country together. We have to look past the lie, check your heart and your gut. Because this is not the America you grew up in. We got to strengthen our police, enforce more rules, but give them the money to do it. Defunding them puts you at risk, puts me at risk. And the vulnerable, they got no shot. You saw in Minnesota, right? They killed the guy, and he was black. They killed each other. That's not a protest. That's not about Black Lives Matter, which is an Antifa. Because here's my tag: everybody matters. That's my new tag. Everybody matters. Get away from colors of lives. Everybody matters. You're in the everybody. So you matter. Everybody matters. That's the way we got to do things. These folks are promoting terms, words. They're using words. And the Bible was the beginning, was the word. God used the word to create all things. So this is the demon force using words that display hatred. It's a lie to fuel up people because we're taking care. Did we not punish the cop? What's the question? He's being punished. Now this is continuing. So that protest should really be over. They got what they wanted. Their voice was heard. All Americans, but the group that's coming behind are using them to rob, steal, kill, and destroy. Sound biblical? Sound like end days?
Right.
It sure is. That's where we are. So America.
And at what point do we begin to admit and have a frank and honest conversation about, and you brought it up, Antifa and Black Lives Matter, and saying and labeling them as they are, whether they're domestic terrorist organizations with regards to Antifa, and then how do we address that? And then secondly, what about traditional family values in all of this? The violence that we see, especially black on black crime in certain parts of the inner city.
You answered it there. You answered it there. Here you go. They're not making it an issue to get past it because they don't have the answer for the God-life person, faithful God and country person, because they don't have the dialogue, neither the platform that conforms to the needs of the American people. They're out of time. You understand? They're out of time. The country's it was in peril when Corona Chinese virus got here. If we would have had one of them as president, me and you might be dead right now. That's the reality. Yeah. So people need to see the reality. The president is doing a fantastic job. He's a good man. He took the minorities, us, and the struggling families. He built the economy for us because the wealthy don't need our help. He knows that. The president wants to do good because that's his legacy. Why would you challenge somebody that's doing good? He's done great things. He listens. That's why he talks about the disabled. He gets my email. He goes to him like, Mr. President, cover this issue. Mr. President, he listens to the people. He said, we'll punish him. He will. The Miasotis family who lost their daughter. I got the picture. I said, he's holding the mother. He's a father. He's a father. He cares. Crooked Joe Biden let his son stay on crack and get $50,000 a month. What kind of leadership do you think that's going to bring? What's he going to do next? Give out drugs? Right? He's going to give that to fuel the hatred. They took over. We are addressing it. We must address it now. And in Congress, we will address it. I wrote up some press releases. We're going to make this a crime. This is a crime. This is domestic terrorism that really not so domestic because the Democrats let in the, why do you think they're fueling the illegal? Give money to illegal. If American Democrats continue to allow that, they're next. They'll be the elitists over their other own Democrats. And under the Republican, that's why we got the R, stands for righteousness of God. If you want to be righteous, stand on the right side, and we'll solve our problems like the president is doing. He's taking action.
I like that. You may have just come up with a new motto for my show. If you like righteousness, stand on the right side. That's a good one.
There you go. It's yours.
Okay.
It's yours. It's for all of us righteous Americans. It belongs to all of us. That's the thing about this country. We do such great things. But taking down our statues, that's illegal.
Right.
It's destruction of public property, not a group's property. And we'll address that when I get there.
Mr. Aquino, along those lines, with regards to rioting, now let's look specifically at your district there, the 19th district in Florida. What if, not, and God willing, it will never happen, but what if certain members of Antifa, Black Lives Matter, or whatever group, whatever anarchy group begins to rise up and form, if they were to take action in the streets in your district, what countermeasures would you support?
Full enforcement of the Second Amendment. Right away.
Boom.
If you need Gatling guns, you get them. Get them. Take them down. Our forefathers wrote that. That's the purpose of, you see, look at the strategy of the forefathers. First Amendment, right? If they don't like what you say, they're going to come after you. So you better have a gun to protect yourself.
Right.
You know, that's the reality.
Yep.
They made those two paramount. You must be able to speak to say what's wrong. Like the antique, this is wrong. This is not American values. This is Crooked Joe and the motley crew of 32 trying to destroy American values.
Excellent.
As congressman, I'm putting that laws in place. I will enforce that Second Amendment like you've never seen, because the difference between me and these guys, they're looking for a job. I'm taking on a responsibility of the Congress, of the duty of a citizen to step up and defend the republic for which we stand. If we don't do that in our states, and you aren't a righteous Republican, that's above conservative, because some a little too crazy, radical. That's not what it is. It's about the right thing. Right thing. Republicans, right thing. Righteous. Why is it we do everything right? And they don't show up and they give you an excuse. And that excuse is accepted. Joe raped a woman. Why are they not talking? He's a rapist. He's a rapist using his vice president. Sound familiar? Slick Willie in the White House, in the Oval Office, desecrating a young girl. If that was my daughter, he wouldn't have lasted long as president. Let me tell you that. And I don't got a problem with saying that. See, First Amendment right? He was a pig. A pig, and then they made an issue with the dress. This is the kind of leadership that Democrats bring. It's okay to rape our women.
It's refreshing to hear in many ways, because what we see, I think, in conservative circles is a frustration, because during the burning of America and the desecration of our statues, the memorials to even what many would consider wonderful, excellent leaders, Catholic saints, Abraham Lincoln, Ulysses Grant, Teddy Roosevelt, etc. You know the list. Good. There's a frustration, though, because where are the Republican leaders putting a stop to this? Now, the caveat is, of course,
why you said that. That's why I'm the front runner here, because the other candidates are not doing. I'm the only one speaking out, putting press releases, answering the American people. That's why they're getting behind me. Sorry, go ahead.
I think you're right. I think that's the frustration. Is my take, and the word of the street is, where in the hell are the Republican leaders with regards to the burning of America? They've just gone silent. Now, I'll qualify that frustration with this. It appears as if it's only Democrat-led cities that are on fire. We don't see
that is
problems
exactly
like that.
Correct.
Yeah.
It falls in line with what I said about Crooked Joe. This is to get back that leadership so they can take the rest of the rights away, to give more, to build an army against natural-born Americans. Think about it. These are illegals fighting you. These are illegals. They said it. There's over 11 million here. And they're fighting to stay on a property that we give to people. But you come in our way, like my grandfather. My grandfather didn't run for office. My grandfather had a little bodega, and he helped the community. He taught my mother the values of America. She taught them to me. I'm running for this office to maintain the integrity. These guys came out with money and corruption. Two of the Republicans in Lee County, because it's dominant Latino. They didn't call me to speak. They said they couldn't find me. You know what I'm saying? So that shows you those leaders, the same ones that are leaving the veterans out, the mayor and 3 electeds were supposed to resign from their seat. It requires it. It's in the rule book. You must resign, and you're not supposed to run for a year, because they don't want you to use that position to put me at a disadvantage, to make people think you're an elected. You can't do it. They're doing it. What does that say, America? These are the corrupt Republicans. They got to go.
Yeah,
we got to get rid of them. I have an honorable man running with me, Charlie Lynch, who's going for the seat of the woman that left. And that way, because they all come in, she was the only one that resigned. You're supposed to. The law calls for it. So if you got it spreading, who are the real Republicans? So this is the message I give to my fellow Republicans. Don't tolerate it. Speak out. They never thought that. They didn't understand 35 years, presidents, justices, military. I got 4 branches of service coming out for me. But if you look at my pictures and you go to my website, you see me on battleships, that they're hugging me because I'm that guy.
Tell us your website. What is it? Tell us your website. What is it?
It's www.aquino4congress.com. It's on Twitter. Go to the Twitter. You'll have a good time there. You'll see my press releases. When you go to the website, read the press releases. It's there for you, because I need you to help me keep America strong. I don't work for President Trump. I work for you. I'm going to support my president by putting in legislation that benefits us. I got people here with no platform going on, taking these videos, taking that information and trying to be me. But I've gotten hundreds of emails saying, that's not his words, it's Darren's words. I got 100 Democrats from the district saying, I'm voting for you. How do I do it? I'm a Democrat. I said, you have to register Republican. They said, I don't want to be a Republican, but I like you. I said, well, you have to do it, but in the general election, you can vote for whoever you want. But if you want me to, we believe in you. You're not like these phonies.
Yep.
They said, and you have years of it, and everything we look on you is just so transparent, so authentic that we just love you. And I'm Puerto Rican. And they said, how come you didn't speak there? I said, they kept me out. Those are the guys that kept me, because the area is dominant my culture. And it just,
Certainly,
When you're a good person in that culture, people gravitate to you. They tried to stop that gravitation.
Certainly, we on this program have heard about the plagiarism and so forth that has plagued you, is caused by others, and we could go on and on about that. But in the time that we have left, as we draw to a close here, Mr. Aquino, I would like you to speak to specifically to the people of the 19th district in Florida with regards, you are leading in the polls. What's your message to them, your closing message, your message of hope, and something that would sum up the Reader's Digest version, if you will, of your candidacy and what you want to do for that 19th district in Florida?
Okay. Well, for 35 years, I've been a faithful advocate, inspired by my family and my own challenges as a disabled boy. I was called all those names: spick, wop, gimpy, made fun of me, children are mean. I've created a children's book to prevent bullying, a series of 19 books. I donated all of the proceeds to our vulnerable. These are the things of my attitude and my belief, my faith in God and love of country to protect our country. Florida's got water issues. I'm going to fix it. Whatever we need, I'm going to sign the check. And that's it. We have a president that will go with me because he comes from my neighborhood. He knows the family for 30 years. He's encouraging me. Mike Caputo, they're saying, Darren, Washington wants you to win. The district has a lot of fake Republicans, and they're in the battlefield with me. They're using money to confuse you with frivolous commercials they all talk about what they're going to do for Donald Trump. Now, that's good, but that's not their job. Their job is to serve the community. That's why they're looking at me. I talked about healthcare, term limits. They're taking bits and pieces of my whole statements from the videos and saying, this is what I'm going to do because here's why. I'm first on the list. They put me last to answer the question so that their friend could answer my statement, and they think I'm going to take it. I could sue them in federal court and gag order them because it's my platform. They did it for personal gain, wealth, and power, and they stole somebody's footprint. Can't do that. So Florida, we have the water issue. We're going to take care of the homeless issue and the health care. The mental illness is going to be incorporated with my plan to put all of the homeless. Our veterans will have free housing, our homeless veterans. Don't you think they earned it, America? Do you want to see them on the street? So this is why I need you to help me. I need you to help me help our veterans who are the forsaken, the forgotten veteran. Fight for us against Iraq. And one of the candidates is from Iraq, and there's a question to it that can't demonstrate a loyalty to this country. You don't flee if you're a Christian. We stand like that little girl at Columbine when she was confronted with a gun. Do you believe in Jesus now? She didn't waver. Christians don't waver. You can't make me leave. So his story's not correct, but they're thinking they can win with money. You're keeping me in the front. Keep me in the front. Support me, and I will fix everything. And we will do the challenges together. I gave you all my phone number. That's going to be the Citizens Hotline. You will always be able to call me. It's not going to be call my secretary. You're going to have them. Never before was this done. You're going to text your congressman. How about that?
Wonderfully said.
It matters to me as much as you because I'm fighting for families. The family values have been compromised. Why? They broke down the family unit by taking away your rights, your health care. The president has put it, but the president could only put in play what we legislate. So they all talked about they're going to do for the president because none of them had a plan that resonated with all of you like mine. I will continue to do this. I will continue to do what I'm doing. I will not waver. I will not change. I will not give in. I will not ever be bought. There will not be lobbyists in my office that compromise the American people. I'm not here to make money. My term limits are going to cap congressmen at 10 years and senators at the 12. And that's that. Because now the fight to do it, and I'll make a citizen's petition where it'll overrule them so that we're not at a standstill. I encourage everyone, read the 27th Amendment and the rights of the people. It's paramount over government. Learn those like I did over 35 years and led a successful fight that modified and changed throughout the United States, accessing courts and public buildings. I did that. I did that by lawsuits. They used to laugh at me and call me, he'll sue you. How about now? You have access. They're not laughing now. I'm in the front because I'm noble. And I'm not puffing myself up. but this race is about money to get me there. I've done it for 50,000 so far, and I'm in the front run. I need your donations. The $10. They're coming in from Kentucky. Little bits, because we're struggling. I'm a check-to-check family. My wife is getting her Social Security now. But we don't stand up for America, America will fall. So I'm only going to serve 10 years. But I want to make it actually 9 years. I want to extend the term to 3 years and make a 3-term max, not even 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
10 years, you don't go, you're out. And then you have to get the full pension to get it. And if there's Social Security combined with it, you're not getting Social Security. You get one or the other, not both. These people are sucking up everything that belongs to us. And the model of that is very simple. Homeless veterans in ridiculous numbers. If you can't see that, then there's something wrong with you. Right. If they're going to hurt them, you're next. You are next.
Well said, Mr. Aquino. Well said. Listen, I appreciate your time. I really do. This has been eye-opening for me. Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, you've just heard from the United States Congressional candidate Darren Aquino from the 19th District of Florida, right here on the right side with Doug Billings. Mr. Aquino, again, thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you for having me and letting me share, and to make all of our fellow Americans keep America great by standing up for her. Get out there and vote. If you need to change your vote and you're not happy, support our president. He needs you to stand up for him. He sent in the aid to America when it was asked of him, and then they sent it back in his face only to blame it. He sent it. He's the president we need, and you got to step up for our president, because it's an institution, it's not a person. But here's the thing, it belongs to all of us, and we have to say so. Not Nancy Pelosi, not Chucky the shoemaker, or Shifty Shift. They're out, and we need to show them the door. That's what we need to do as Americans. I love you all. America, I won't fail you. I will never desecrate the office. I will always be available, and we will work hard together. And that means around the country. If you see this and you're in another state, I'm a congressman, United States. You call, I answer. And that's that. I promise you that. So help me God.
And there it is, the final word right here on the right side with Doug Billings and Darren Aquino, the 19th District in Florida, United States Congressional candidate. Thanks for watching. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.